Greetings, my dear friends. This is SoulWeaver. Today I want to talk about a book that once turned my consciousness upside down. A book that explains what we all feel but cannot put into words. Carl Gustav Jung's Man and His Symbols. You know, Jung wrote this book at the very end of his life. He was already ill. He already felt that time was running out. He gathered his closest students and told them, "People do not understand me. My ideas are too complex. Make them accessible to everyone." And they did. Man and His Symbols is the only book by Jung written not for psychiatrists and academics, but for ordinary people. For you, for me, for those who wake up in the middle of the night from a strange dream and cannot understand what it means. Jung begins with a simple question. What is a symbol? Not a sign, not a logo, not an abbreviation. A symbol is something else. When you see a "Do Not Enter" road sign, you know you cannot go that way. That is a sign. Its meaning is clearly defined. But when you dream of a tree, or a snake, or an old man with a staff, that is a symbol. It does not have a single meaning, it has thousands, and its meaning depends on you, on your life, on your soul. Jung writes in the introduction, "A symbol is a term, a name, or even a picture that may be familiar in daily life, yet that possesses specific connotations in addition to its conventional and obvious meaning. It implies something vague, unknown, or hidden from us." And here we come to the most important part, to what Jung called the collective unconscious. Freud spoke of the unconscious, the part of the psyche where we repress traumas, desires, fears. That is the personal unconscious. It is different for each person. But Jung went further. He said that beneath the personal unconscious lies another layer, deeper, more ancient. It does not belong to a single individual, but to all of humanity. This is the collective unconscious. It is the memory of the species, the experience of all our ancestors, encoded in our psyche. It exists in a newborn infant who knows nothing of the world. It existed in ancient people who painted bison on cave walls. It exists in you when you have a strange dream and feel that it means something, even though you cannot explain what exactly. And this collective unconscious is made up of archetypes. Archetypes are primordial images, patterns, templates. They have no specific form, but they give form to our thoughts, feelings, and dreams. Jung compared archetypes to the bed of a river. The water may flow differently, but the riverbed determines its path. In the same way, archetypes determine the path of our psyche. What are these archetypes? There are many, dozens, hundreds. But Jung identified a few of the most important. The archetype of the shadow is the dark side of your personality. Everything you do not want to acknowledge in yourself. Anger, envy, selfishness, cruelty. We hide the shadow deep in the subconscious. We pretend it is not there, but it is. And it appears in dreams, in the form of monsters, murderers, demons. Jung said, to become whole, you must meet your shadow. Not defeat it, not destroy it, but recognize that it is part of you, and then it will cease to be an enemy and become an ally. The archetype of the Anima and Animus is the inner woman in a man and the inner man in a woman. Jung observed that every man carries within him a feminine image, the Anima, and every woman carries within her a masculine image, the Animus. They appear in dreams, in projections onto others, in art. A man who does not know his anima becomes rough, callous, disconnected from his feelings. A woman who does not know her animus becomes helpless, passive, dependent on others' opinions. The archetype of the self is the most important. It is the image of wholeness. The image of who you become when you unite all parts of your soul, consciousness and unconscious, light and shadow, masculine and feminine. The self is not achieved easily. It is a journey. What Jung called the process of individuation. And here is where the magic happens. Because archetypes are not just about psychology. They are about everything. About myths, about religion, about the cosmos. You know that the symbol of a circle with a dot in the center, the mandala, appears in every culture in the world. Hindus and Buddhists use mandalas for meditation. Christians depict halos around the heads of saints. Native Americans build sacred circles. Even in medieval alchemy, there was the symbol of the round stone, the philosopher's stone. Jung noticed this. The mandala is the archetype of the self. It is the image of wholeness. And when a person moves toward wholeness, they begin to see circles, mandalas, flowers, wheels in their dreams. Because the psyche itself produces this symbol when it is ready for healing. Now for the most interesting part. Jung did not limit himself to psychology. He looked wider, at the cosmos. Jung observed that archetypes manifest not only in dreams, but also in real life. Sometimes in strange coincidences that he called synchronicity. You think of someone, and they call. You dream of an event, and it happens. Jung could not explain this in terms of causality, but he suggested that something exists that connects the inner and outer worlds. Something like an information field, a collective consciousness permeating the universe. Modern physics is beginning to confirm this. The physicist Leonard Susskind proposed the holographic principle, which suggests that all information about the universe is stored on its boundary, like a hologram. Jung described something similar decades ago, speaking of the collective unconscious as a unified information field. In Hinduism and Buddhism, this field is called Akasha, the record of all things. In Kabbalah, Ein Sof, the infinite light. In Christianity, the Logos, the divine reason permeating everything. Perhaps Jung simply found a scientific language for what mystics have known for millennia. In Buddhism, Jung found kindred ideas. The teaching of emptiness, the recognition that all forms are temporary, and beneath them lies a single reality. The teaching of karma, the idea that our actions create consequences not only in this life, but also in future lives, exactly how the psyche projects itself outward. In Hinduism, the teaching of chakras, the energy centers of the body, which Jung connected to levels of psychic development. The wheel of samsara, the symbol of the infinite cycle of births and deaths, from which one can escape only by achieving wholeness. In Taoism, the yin-yang symbol, the union of opposites, which Jung called the symbol of the self. Studying Gnostic texts, the Hermetic tradition, alchemy, Jung found the same symbols: the circle, the cross, the tree, the serpent. They appear everywhere, in ancient Egypt and medieval Europe, in shamanic rituals and in the dreams of modern people. Why? Because the collective unconscious is one and the same for all of humanity. It knows no boundaries, no time, no cultures. It is what makes us human. And here we come to the most important part, the reason Jung wrote this book. He wanted people to learn to understand their dreams, because dreams are a direct channel to the collective unconscious. When you sleep, your conscious mind shuts off, and the archetypes begin to speak. They speak in the language of symbols, not in English, not in Russian, not in Chinese, in the universal language of images. Jung warned, there is no universal dream dictionary. A snake in one person's dream might mean wisdom, but for another, danger. The key is not the symbol. The key is context, your life, your feelings, your associations. But there are some general patterns. Flying in a dream often means liberation from constraints, falling, loss of control, being chased, fear of something you cannot accept, an exam, the feeling that you are being evaluated and you are not ready. In Man and His Symbols, there is a unique case study, the analysis of a patient named Henry's dreams. Jung and his student deciphered his dreams step by step, and through those dreams, Henry saw his shadow, met his anima, began the process of individuation, and he healed, not from medication, but from understanding himself. Jung finished his chapter in this book just 10 days before his death. He could no longer get out of bed, but he dictated, because he knew this is important, the last message to humanity. He wrote, "Our psyche is part of nature, and its enigma is limitless." And it is true. We study the cosmos, but we do not know what is happening inside us. We search for aliens, but we do not hear the voice of our own soul. We build colliders, but we cannot explain why we have strange dreams. Jung gave us the key. The book Man and His Symbols. Read it, slowly, with a pencil in your hand. And when you have a dream you do not understand, do not dismiss it. Ask yourself, what is my soul trying to tell me? And now, listen to the silence between these words. Have you ever felt it? That your dream is not just a dream. That it speaks to you in a language you do not understand, but you feel it. That behind every image, something greater, something ancient, something that remembers what you have forgotten. This is not just dreams. This is the voice of your soul, the voice of the collective unconscious, the voice of all your ancestors, all your lives, all your possible selves. You are not alone. You are part of a vast network. You are part of an ancient story that continues in you. And the symbols that come to you in dreams, they are keys, keys to your wholeness. Do not fear them. Study them. Write them down. Ask yourself, what does this mean for me? And one day you will see that your soul is a book, and every page of this book is a symbol, and you are the author, and you are the reader, and you are the symbol yourself. This is SoulWeaver. If this resonated with you, subscribe. Stay. We are just beginning. Until next time, dream, question, and remember, no one really knows, but it's beautiful to think about.